One of the greatest success stories in British conservation is the osprey, a bird that had suffered from persecution for decades. Historically, this magnificent bird of prey was widespread right across Britain, but by the 1950s there was just one pair left breeding up here in Scotland. Whilst working for the RSPB, conservationist Roy Dennis championed the return of the osprey. Thanks to his lifetime's work, there are now over 300 breeding pairs in Britain. They overwinter in Africa before returning to the same nest site every year. And after Roy's success, other countries are seeking his help to re-establish their breeding populations. Dr. Aitor Galarza is from the Basque country in northern Spain.
Well, in the north of the peninsula, they disappeared many years ago, probably due to persecution and habitat destruction. And now we have ospreys passing through the Basque country every spring, every autumn, many ospreys, but they don't breed there.
So, Roy, passing through is one thing. How can you persuade them to breed there?
The best way is to translocate some young birds, and when they grow up and are released, they think this is home. And after their years in Africa in the winter, they will come back there and they will choose that as the place to breed. And that first step will create an Iberian population of breeding ospreys.
Ospreys are doing extremely well in Scotland, so by taking a small number of Scottish chicks to northern Spain, should make the overall population in Europe stronger. Last year, under special licence, Roy successfully sent 12 Scottish osprey chicks to the Basque country. And this year, he's doing the same. Having already collected 8 chicks, he's about to get the 9th.
See on this tree here? And that's a very typical natural nest. It's been used for 7 years or something like that.
The chicks will be brought down by Ian Perks, an expert tree climber and bird handler. Ospreys can have up to 3 chicks, but there are only 2 in this nest, which are about 3 weeks old. Would it represent a problem if you were to take one away? That's reducing it by 50%.
No, I don't think so. With this sort of work, we have to be, professional. But some of the nests we go to, we find the chicks dying and parents just push them to one side. So lots of chicks, it's kind of natural. So we'll take one of the chicks to Spain for the project. The other chick will be there, the parents will come back, and that chick will just get more food.
We've got the female circling overhead. She's not on Julie Wood?
No. And as soon as we walk away, she'll come and perch in her favourite perch or go to the nest.
Both chicks are removed, and Roy first needs to check them over before deciding which one to choose. Look at that! It's beautiful.
It's just a perfect size.
It's actually gorgeously feathered, hardly any down.
They're both males.
Is it important whether you take males or females?
I prefer males because they're more likely to come back to the Spanish release site. And if the males start to breed, they attract females to stop and join them.
Once the chicks are measured and weighed, Roy makes his decision.
Well, this one's quite aggressive little guy. And they're both perfect for the size we want, so I'm happy with either. I just think that one is a bit more feisty, so I'd rather have the quieter one.
The feisty chick is returned to the nest, and the other one carefully transported back to Roy's house. There we go. Let me have the honour, Roy, carrying in this very valuable cargo.
Okay, Mike, come in here. Now, if you put the box on there.
Oh, Roy, look at that.
These two I got earlier, and I'm going to put them in with those 2.
Most people have cars or junk in their garages, Roy. You have osprey chicks. Are you happy these birds are looking in great fettle and ready for Spain?
These are great. The eye is the most important thing. These birds have got beautiful eyes. If they're not well, the eyes are dull.
For the next 48 hours, these chicks will be well looked after, fed 4 times a day, and once they've been given a final health check, they'll be taken to Spain to start their new lives. And I'll be there to see them when they take their maiden flight in their new home. Just over 3 weeks ago, 11 osprey chicks were safely taken from nests in Scotland to be transported to a new home. As in Britain, this bird of prey had been persecuted in Spain. until there were no breeding pairs left in the north of the country. But close to the city of Bilbao, all that could be about to change, as these Scottish chicks are part of a plan to create a new breeding population. And now they're ready to be released here in País Vasco, the Basque country. Since their arrival a couple of weeks ago, the Scottish ospreys have been well looked after in large cages overlooking the Urdaibai estuary. This is so they forget any memory of Scotland and now regard what they're looking at as their new home. Last time I saw these birds, they were in a garage in Scotland, and here they are in the Basque country. Javier, they look fabulous.
Yes, they look great.
At around 7 weeks old in the wild, ospreys will fledge from the nest. So Spanish project leader, Dr. Aitor Galarza, is keeping a close eye on these chicks to look out for the telltale signs that let him know they're ready to leave.
So first, when they begin flapping, it's one signal, the first signal. Then when they jump onto the perches, and the last signal is when they began grabbing onto the mesh. So when we see that they are grabbing, we know that we have to release in 2 days or 3 days, more or less.
Roy Dennis, who pioneered the return of ospreys in Britain, has spent the last couple of years helping Spanish conservationists decide the best place for the osprey's new home.
Urdaibai estuary is just superb for ospreys. This fills up with water and it's just full of grey mullet. We realised that this coast would be a great place to try to get ospreys to breed again.
And tomorrow morning, 2 of the ospreys Roy collected from Scotland will be released into their new home. Well, it's just before 6 o'clock in the morning on Liberation Day. The team are just about to open one of the front of the cages, and hopefully, as the sun rises, they should come to the front and take their maiden flight. Doesn't get much more exciting than this. Well, Roy, lo and behold, the sun is up, dawn is happening, and the birds have come right to the edge straight away.
Yeah, once the lid is down, then they come out like that.
One is certainly kind of looking like it wants to go more than the other at the moment.
But they'll do a lot of that. You know, we might have quite a while to wait, but they keep jumping up and down like that. Then they preen, then they look.
The ospreys have already been ringed and satellite tagged, so when they do fly off, Aitor and his team can follow them both here and when they migrate to Africa. But it's taking a lot longer for them to fly from the cages than I anticipated. 2.5 hours later, we're still waiting for the ospreys to leave. But the longer we wait is actually good news.
This is much better. So you give them plenty of time, because the most important thing is that when they do their first flight, they stay in this area and they don't get lost.
Yeah. And after a good 3 hours of waiting, this looks more promising, Roy.
That is
the edge.
looking good. Oh no, that's it. Gone.
It's gone. It's gone.
Gone.
It's gone. No. Oh, look at that flying. It's first ever flight. And after a quick survey of its new home, it perches in a tree. A good sign is it hasn't flown off. And then, 5 minutes later, the second one takes to the air. How does it feel, Roy, seeing it flying? You plucked this bird out of a nest about a month ago.
Well, the first bird that went came from North Sutherland, and the second bird came from very close to my home in Murray. So I feel, very personal about
From
them.
Scotland with love.
Absolutely.
Once all the ospreys are released, they'll stay in the estuary for around a month before they begin the long migration south, where they'll then spend the next 2 years in West Africa before hopefully returning right back here and being amongst the first ospreys for decades to breed back in the Basque country, thanks to a little bit of help from Scotland.